All right, today we're in section 7.4, the percent equation. The good thing, like I just said, about the percent equation is that your keywords are going to be the same, and your variables are going to be the same as percent proportions. Okay, all right, so we can, all right guys, so we can look at the percent equation the same way that we look at the percent proportion, in that we use these to solve percent problems. This looks very similar to what we did in section 7.2. What number is 16% of 75? Except now we're going to use the percent equation instead of the proportion to solve for this. All right, so we go A equals P percent times B. All right, so where were we? Yes, A equals P percent times B. And now we need to make our substitutions, okay? So what are we solving for here? What number is 16% of 75? What are we solving for? A. We're solving for A. Our keyword is, and it says what number is. 16% is my P and 75 is my B. So A equals, and does anybody remember, what do we do to a percent before we can multiply? Change it to decimal and then multiply 0.16 times 75. And what would that give us?
12.
Okay, so it's going to be 12. All right, and inevitably, I'm going to have students, I do every year, even though I tell you I need to see the entire percent equation. This, would you agree if I were to cover up this part of it? Does this look familiar to maybe like what you did on your quiz yesterday?
Yes.
A percentage of a number. And so I'll have them leave off all these A equals. And they'll just say, and they'll even leave off the whole equation, they'll just say 0.16 times 75 and give me the answer. Well, the problem with that is they're completely ignoring, do you see how I have half of it blotted out? Okay, they're completely ignoring the fact that this is a part of the percent equation. And it's just as important that you include that part of it. It's saying what number is. I need to know that you understand that you're solving for A. So it's a very simple, just write A equals. Use the equation. You're still basically doing the same process, and it's just A equals 12. All right, so go ahead and do the second one. All right, so what number is? I don't know A. 0.89 times 110. Who got 97.9? All right, so really the challenge in this section is just figuring out what you're solving for. Is it A? Is it P? Is it B? Getting those numbers plugged in, and then you're pretty much on the home stretch from there. All right, so we also have these, and I like to call them kind of like real life examples thrown in the mix here. And this is basically an application of how am I going to use this in my career or in the real world, and here's a direct connection. So when you make a commission, does everybody know what a commission is? Okay, it's when you make money on top of the agreed amount money with your employer. You make extra money based on your performance or based on a product that you sell. So a lot of times in sales jobs where you have to sell something like boats or cars or houses or even food like waiters and waitresses, your employer will give you commission. That's kind of protection for them because they don't have to pay you top dollar and you literally just sit on, you know, in your desk all day and do nothing. But it motivates you to get out there and work and to sell their product. They make money and they give you a percentage of their money. Kind of seems like a sweet deal, huh? Right? Well, it's kind of feast or famine though. So like if you imagine selling houses, well, in a market where there's tons of houses selling and people are buying houses left and right and you're a realtor, you're going to make a lot of money. But what if nobody's buying houses? you're not going to make any money. You're going to be getting you another job, a second job, right? So in a healthy economy, in a healthy market, some of those jobs can really pay. And there's really no limit as to how much money you can make. So that's what we see here with a commission. It says a car salesperson earns 6.5% commission on every car sold. The salesperson sells a car for $21,800. What is their commission? Well, the commission is not the total amount of money that they sold. Okay? It's just a part of it. How much money did they sell in car dollars? 21,800. That's my total. So I get A equals P percent times B. Same formula. All right? I don't know the commission, so you should see a direct connection into what we just did in example 1. Do I know the percent that he makes? 6.5%. How would I write that as a decimal? 0.065. If you wrote 0.65, that's 65%. So 0.065 makes all the difference times 21,800. All right, go ahead and figure out his commission. His commission on one car.
$1,417.
Okay, now their commissions aren't that high. They wouldn't make that much money on one car, but they do make a decent amount of money. You know, imagine if you sold, I don't know, 5 cars a week and you made $500 for every car you sell. You made $2,500 in a week. That's not bad money.
That's big.
Okay, that's pretty good money. So anyway, just a little application problem. You're probably going to have something along those lines on your homework assignment. In example 3, you're solving for a different part of the percent equation. Okay, it says what percent of 25 is 60. You have to decide which value is A and which value is B and plug them in. Clearly you're solving for percent, so you're going to have P as your variable. Go ahead and try to plug them in. Don't solve it all the way, but just go ahead and plug them into the equation. All right, so substitutions. What was my A value? Nope. 60. Now, here's what kind of throws you off, though. 60 is bigger. And so what does that tell you? If 60 is my A value, that's my is, and 25 is my of value, but 60 is bigger, what does that tell you about your percentage? It's going to be over 100%. 100% of 25 is 25, so 60 is going to be well over 100%. So you can think of it in terms like that. Like you don't know exactly what the answer is, but you know it's going to be more than 100%. Now, let me ask you this whole P times 25. Well, what if I told you X times 3? Is that how we would write it? No. How would we write it?
3x.
We would write it 3x. So if we had P times 25, how would we write that?
25p.
25p. And you can go ahead and just write it that way. You don't even have to write it like in order that it appears in the formula. There's just no point in doing that. Just go ahead and write it 25p. Okay, then what do?
Divide by 25.
Divide both sides by 25, and you get 2.4. 2.4. Is 2.4 your answer?
No.
No, that's your decimal value. So I have to write that as a percentage, and how would I do that? Move the decimal over 2 places. 240%. Okay, go ahead and do the second one. If it by chance happens to be a repeating decimal, leave it repeating with a repeating bar, or you can round to the nearest percentage. All right, so A equals P percent times B. 30 equals 45P. Divide both sides by 45. And change. Now, I do want to point this out. You always go out 3 decimal places. If the decimal keeps on going, go out 3 decimal places and then move your decimal to change to a percentage. This is not the point where you round. Does everybody understand that? You change it to a percent, and then at that point, if it's a repeating percent, you can go ahead and round to the nearest whole percentage. All right, example 4, finding base. Your friend pays $9 for a movie ticket. This amount is 72% of the total amount they spent at the theater. How much money did they spend? Okay, so I still start out with my percent equation. Okay, percent equation. Now, there is one value in here that's obvious. That's my P. That's my P. Now I have to decide, is $9 my A value or my B value? Is it part of the total or is it the total amount spent?
Part of the total.
It's a part of the total. It says here that it makes up 72%. Now, if it had said $9 makes up 100%, then yes, that is the total. You see that? Okay, so $9 for a movie ticket, this is 72%, and it clearly says of the total amount, which it does not tell me. How much money did your friend spend? So you do have to kind of read into these questions to figure out, is it A, B, or P, but they will give you those key words like total. If it says the total amount she spent was $20, that's your B value. Okay? So we make our substitutions. Wait, where did I get .072 from?
You had to change it to a decimal.
Yeah, if it's a percentage, you have to change it to a decimal before you can multiply. What would I do next?
Divide by 7.72.
Yeah, divide by .72. And that's how much she spent. So basically what it's saying is, if they spent $9 on the movie ticket and that's 72% of the total, that means they spent $12.50 total. Alrighty, last couple problems. Okay, go ahead and solve these percent problems. Go ahead and plug in the we're going to solve both of them, but go ahead and plug in your values into your percent equation on the first one. So 90, does that go in for A, B, or P?
A.
It goes in for A, equals P percent times B. 90 equals 1.2 B. Did you change it?
Yes, I did.
Did you change it? Okay, now what do I do to solve for B?
You divide by 1.
Divide by 1.2, and you get 75. Who got 75? All right, that's the majority. Do the next one. Now, if your decimal place is in the wrong place in your answer, that means you didn't convert your percentage correctly. 120% is 1.2 as a decimal. You have to change the percent to a decimal before you can multiply. Okay, 27 is 7.5% of what number? 27 equals .075. Did you get that?
Yes.
Divide by .075, 360. Who got 360? Okay, just get those decimals right and we should be good to go. If you understand that, that's everything you need to know for section 7.4 and this unit. So your next quiz and test will be over 7.1 through 7.4.